This is the source. The worm conquered all that was desired. Its name tempts many to their quick deaths. No one who approaches knows its true size. So many were conquered by one. The living fortress, the plated serpent, the colossus. How have the tables turned upon man when the head of the centipede pierces the clouds? Some were skilled. Some got close to the centipede's head. Their confidence builds, climbing so far up the centipede's body. But at the head awaited its jaws, which bested those who would dare try and take back what the centipede acquired through its might. To this day, it continues to guard and acquire. None are safe. None are sure what it will acquire next. The only warning it gives is the sound of marching in the distance. By then, it's too late, for its length stretches beyond sound, and it's already upon that which it will acquire, and it's always moving. This tale is posted in the most visited forum on the internet. While the internet tends to be a safe place for the most opinionated people on the planet, the consequences of this post prove that safety is actually bait. While reality inspires fiction, the reverse is true as well. There is no actual giant centipede trampling the world, but there are real victims to its jaws, and there is no real way of knowing who's next. There is little warning for its victims. Since this thing started on the internet, that's where it appears before it attacks. While the story was first posted on that particular forum, victims are always found in random comment feeds or other forums. The victim receives a reply to any post they make in the form of a stream of the letter E running down their screen in a wavy fashion. The centipede's march. It finally ends with a colon, a bracket, and the less than sign. The centipede's head. The final part of the centipede's message is a picture of a yet-to-be-identified male holding a bouquet of black roses in his right hand. None of the first victims knew they were about to be murdered after receiving this strange message. However, once word spread of the centipede's story, the symbolism in the message totally fit. So far, there doesn't seem to be any relation between the victims, but the MO of the murder is always the same. 2 Japanese swords piercing the abdomen. One from the front, one from the back. Of course, there are no fingerprints found on the swords, no brand names, and they appear to be identical to all the ones found at the previous murders. Information such as the victim's place of employment, tax records, and birth certificates had been erased from government archives. Police had to rely on IDs found in the victim's home and started questioning friends and relatives from there. What information they received helped little in discovering a motive behind the deaths. There were many theories, one being illegal dealings gone wrong, but that made the centipede seem less like a serial killer picking off random victims. However, illegal dealings weren't entirely dismissed, seeing as these murders were happening all over the country instead of in one area. As anyone would expect as a reaction to this sudden string of deaths, people have used caution, while others have started fan clubs, maybe even hoping to be next on a centipede's list, getting a chance to meet the actual murderers. And of course, there have been many, many copycats. It's so easy to copy and paste the centipede to any person's forum reply, along with the picture at the end, and this has caused quite the panic. This trend has been reduced to an instant response to any post that has offended someone. In the middle of an online argument, someone copies and pastes the centipede and the picture, and immediately the following replies would be full of nothing but profanity and condemning remarks. People began responding in this way once everyone found out the difference between a fake and the real thing. In the real thing, the letter E would actually appear one right after the other down the screen in real time, whereas a copy and paste maneuver simply posts the whole centipede and the picture all at once. Copycats even tried to mimic the real-time march of the centipede by typing the letter E one right after the other, but each E would be its own post, separated by the post's borders and timestamps. Also, unless they knew how to cover their tracks, every copycat was caught and questioned easily. Among the fans of the centipede, these copycats are actually scorned. New theories appear on the internet and use every day, but it seems that very few people are actually grasping something very crucial to all of this. The centipede story is very peculiar in how it describes the relationship between a centipede and its victims. After all the hype, the victims appear random. The story starts off saying the centipede began to conquer, but then it goes on to say that people have tried to confront it. The story eventually explains they're after something they desire. Are the victims trying to retrieve their information? Could that be what the story is implying? The police revealed little to the public of what they've uncovered on each victim, but info spreads. Most of it is no doubt nothing but false rumors, but the theory that many of the victims had advanced knowledge of computers is pretty valid. This knowledge includes knowing how to create software, maybe on a very amateur level, but in this day and age, the percentage of people knowing how to do things like that is always increasing. By questioning friends and relatives, the police got answers like, "Oh yes, they were very good with computers." But as to what exactly they could do, well, it wasn't like the victims broadcast their abilities. And even if they did, publishing amateur software to the web and such, some close friends might have known, but any of those products were included in the missing information. So the police and the public are stuck with assumptions. But if any of the victims were aware of certain information of theirs missing, and how to go about searching for it in databases no average citizen was even aware of, then perhaps that would be a clue. Still, it's not hard to eventually learn you're the victim of identity theft. Yet, there's already no doubt in many minds that there's more to it than that.